All right. Uh,
Recording in progress.
all right. Thank you very much for joining in. I know this is the last session of first week after so much hectic things that are going on at COB. So this shows the enthusiasm we have. Even we have a small number of people here. But what we have here is an interesting set of panelists and speakers. We have senior government officials from Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, Government of India. We have colleague from Selco Foundation who have done exceptional work on ground on social entrepreneurship. And we also have online with us Dr. Minesh Shah, uh, who has been a veteran in dairy industry and has done exceptional work on integrating renewable energy, especially solar and biogas in the dairy value chain in India. So this session is about Tales of Hope, Clean Energy Transition in Rural India. My name is Bhaskar and I'm heading Climate Hub at WWF India. I will be moderating this session. So the idea of this session is not to just have one-on-one interaction, but I have few colleagues from WWF Uganda and also the regional energy transition head for Africa who is here. The idea is that what we can do in terms of experience sharing, in terms of what is happening in India, in terms of DRE and PRE, how there could be meaningful collaboration between India and what the African countries could learn from it. I think that is the broadly the bottom line for this discussion that we want to have today. So this session is being organized as part of WWF, HSBC, and WRI's Climate Solutions Partnership. It is working in 4 countries: China, Indonesia, Vietnam, and India. The facet is that it's on energy transition, and what we are working in India is through distributed renewable energy and productive use of renewable energy, not just looking at from providing energy or power autonomy, but also linking it to resilience and livelihood generation. I think that is the missing link that the ministry is also now working on, and this is something that WWF through its pilot is testing in Sundarbans in Rajasthan and in Uttar Pradesh. Uh, this is we will keep the session very compressed and very short. I mean, very direct. We will have around 60 minutes for this session. I am joined by Mr. Dinesh Jagdale, who is the Joint Secretary at the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. Mr. Jeevan Kumar Jethani, who is Senior Scientist Staff at Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. I have Dr. Minesh Shah, like I said. He is the chairman of National Dairy Development Board, who has joined us virtually. Unfortunately, he couldn't come to COP28. It would have been wonderful to have him in person with us, but nonetheless, he is there virtually joining us. And finally, I have Shahab Zaveri, who's the Senior Program Manager at Selco Foundation. We were talking just before the session, the interesting work that Selco has done, and how do we create the feedback mechanism in terms of reporting what the civil society is doing, what different organizations is doing, and how does that can complement what government of India is doing. I think we need to have a discussion on that also. Uh, I think a lot of people here present know what's happening in India. We are, I'm really proud to say that we are showing the world an economic development model wherein we are not following the path that developed countries have taken. We are taking much more conscious, energy sensitive path, a carbon sensitive path, wherein we are trying to develop the per capita income of each citizen, also providing them energy access, but doing that in a much more cleaner and just way. India has a lot of programs and ambitious target. The COP21 target for 40% non-fossil fuel energy target has been already met almost like 8 years back, 8 years before the target that was supposed to be. But along with large-scale grid-based renewable energy, MNRE and other stakeholders in the ecosystem are also working in fostering decentralized renewable energy. I have my colleague Rahul here also, who leads the Energy Storage Alliance. He has also, his organization is also working extensively on promoting energy storage in far-flung areas. I'm happy to say that as part of CSP, we are working with Rahul in terms of assessing the feasibility of energy storage in Leh. Because we see that Leh wants to have net zero target, wants to be net neutral, and also what we can do in terms of energy storage. I think that would be really important. Like I said, I was reading one of the very interesting report done by a think tank, which said that DRE systems in India have massive opportunities in terms of they have listed around 12 DRE solutions, and if we deploy these solutions, there are opportunity to create around 37 million jobs, new jobs, sustainable jobs in India, and the market potential is somewhere close to around 40 billion USD. I mean, this shows us the opportunity that India has in terms of DRE and PRE solutions. And we have the conducive policy. We have a draft framework that was published by Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. I think we have the clear policy signal, a political will, and also a lot of guidance to other stakeholders on how we can achieve this. But of course, all said and done, there are still some challenges that the DRE section faces. The initial wave, I still remember I was working on a DRE almost 10 years back. The initial wave was on solar lighting, solar microgrids, and the small battery storage units, etc. But now the system has changed a lot. I think the second wave now is to look at productive use of renewable energy, solar-based cloth making machines, solar-based dryers, and other things. We have solar water pumps, which is a huge success in India. I think we have gone over and above what we could do. I think we are seeing the second phase. But there is, again, there are different societal challenges in terms of livelihood that we need to tackle. I think one of the code that we need to break is that how DRE solutions can be scaled up. There are different DRE solutions in different areas. Selco has done something. How do we scale it up? I think that forms the crux of today's discussion, is that how do we scale up renewable energy, especially DRE renewable energy in India? And I was speaking to my colleague in Africa. So they also have very, very peculiar challenge. In India, at least we have, in terms of density, number of people staying there. So it makes sense to have aggregation of the demand and putting them like microgrid and providing them solutions. But in Africa, the challenge is slightly different. The density is not that much. So how do we tackle this solution? I think from our learned speakers and panelists today, I think we will get to know more on what the cross-learning could be. With that, I will stop now. And I will request Jagdale sir to please join in and give us a keynote speech. I think there is a lot to learn from Jagdale sir. I know he said that don't talk to me like this, but I will emphasize that under his leadership, under Jeshani sir's leadership, a lot of things has happened in India in renewable energy sector. The growth we have seen both at the grid connected solar as well as DRE, I think these two gentlemen are the right person to tell you more about it. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Bhaskar, and very good evening to all, those who have joined virtually as well and those who are sitting here. It's my pleasure to be here. Thanks to WWF, and I do understand HSBC is also part of this event, supporting this event, so congratulations to you. This was just a couple of days before Bhaskar traveled to COP. Probably he was there at MNRE, and he said, we are doing this event. And obviously, what is more important for us is to look at the decentralized way of expanding the RE. And we always say what MNRE and the Government of India is looking at the transition that happens where citizen is at the core. And therefore, when we are doing all our policies, we also want to have kept in mind that it is the citizen-centric energy transition that will really help us going forward. Just to the colleagues or the attendees who have not followed the India, but I can mention that India, 40 years probably from now, I think 2023, 1980s, it was this that the Government of India set up a dedicated ministry looking at focusing on renewable energy. And at that point of time, biogas was only the source that was looked at. So, people joke that this ministry was only biogas ministry. But, things changed eventually. And, wind came in, solar came in, and then a blend of technologies, right from bio, waste to energy, hydro. But you still feel and you still see that biogas still has remained a decentralized source of renewable energy. And even today, in major parts of the world, we see that immense importance of biogas to really provide a cooking solution, a cooking fuel which is clean, which helps the the women in particular, if you're talking from an Indian context, because that helps the community, that helps the family to really be self-sufficient and also save money. So the real challenge before us is how can we now include renewable energy as a part of livelihood? That is the real challenge that we want to really move forward. While we have been focusing on adding electricity, which is produced from renewable energy as a major source of electricity into the grid, and we always say that our focus is to green the grid while we electrify the economy. So while the efforts have been made into making more and more electricity that is pumped into the grid is from renewable energy sources, that can happen from very massive, large solar parks, wind parks, which we have been doing. I mean, many of the other countries also have been doing, but we have that success of our partnership and our collaboration with our states who do a lot of activities, and we have the world's largest solar parks today installed in India. Whether you talk of the southmost in Karnataka, we have in Rajasthan. So there are several case studies that one can see. But on the other hand, if you see our programs, we are also focusing on decentralized renewable energy. And decentralized renewable energy comes from one, obviously the rooftop, which actually provides electricity to the residents who lives there. But the second part is what we have been doing, and my colleague has been very instrumental in promoting that, is we call it PM Kusum, which is solarizing the agriculture sector. We have huge agriculture-based, India is an agriculture-based economy, and there is a huge dependence on farmers. And if we are able to really provide source of energy that is clean and at the time that he requires, so solar forms a very integral part of our journey towards decarbonization. And this solarizing the agriculture not only benefits us by removing the agriculture sector from the main grid, because normally the agriculture sector is subsidized, heavily subsidized. And therefore, if we are taking him away from the grid and providing reliable daytime power, and that which solar can feed, so we are able to meet his expectations, but we're also trying to exceed his expectations, because he can generate excess electricity and then he can actually sell back to the grid and can earn money. That particular schemes are also being initiated by the government of India. My colleague here sitting, he was giving me a brief about what he has done, his foundation has done in several parts of the northeastern states and the southern states, and I salute to their efforts. Most of the healthcare units have been solarized. Now that brings in storage aspects, that brings in technology aspects, but more importantly from me is the ability of the resident there and the state government there and the citizens there to accept such a solution. And northeastern states have really done way ahead in accepting such solutions, and today few states the entire healthcare system is solarized. No, it's a huge boost for our Indian economy, because we spend a lot on healthcare. And if electricity is a fundamental raw material ingredient in providing the healthcare systems, because unless you have dedicated hospitals, healthcare centers, clinics, if they're not able to access energy, then there's no use of having whatever best medicines that they can provide. And therefore, such initiatives are also very important. So what I see, and Bhaskar was mentioning, how can we now scale up? It's basically finding the right path towards livelihoods. Biogas has seen, and Mineshji must be hearing out, because NDDB and the entire Gujarat story, the western part of our country, has a very good case studies on how can biogas be a part of the rural economy. It has not only empowered women to make their livelihoods, but it also has given the ingredient to increase the fertility of the soil through the organic manure that comes out of the biogas. Just few hours back, I was in another session at ISA Pavilion, and we were also talking of certain partnerships that we do with states. And just to share and narrate the incidents, there was a case study that was presented by a young woman who actually runs a foundation, Seva Foundation, in that particular village. And she was mentioning in her local language that we can do everything, the businesses can run virtually, but she mentioned that cooking cannot happen virtually. if I have to support my family, if I have to cook, and I need to spend money on cooking fuel. What biogas has done, biogas has not only provided her fuel, has provided clean fuel, but also has saved her cost on the extra cost that she needs to pay for filling the LPG that she needs to do. And this is one simple, very grassroots level villager who is trying to come to the stage of COP28 and giving a lecture and trying to teach us, preach us. Such a better story, I don't think anywhere it can happen. So it is a proud moment for all of us in this journey of energy transition, that DRE, the renewable energy, has a role to play right from very large centralized parks to the smallest of a decentralized activity that one can do. I think if you look at in terms of the wattage, biogas must be generating hardly few watts. But that has helped the family, the resident, the consumer to go green, to save from burning wood, to improve her or his health from all those smoke that comes out when one burns wood. And this is where the story, I think some of the colleagues from Africa are sitting here. I think we need to take this story now. We need to take this journey. We have agencies like think tanks, foundations who are doing their bit of job. We have intergovernmental agencies like ISA who are doing their job. And we as country, as India, will be very happy, more than happy to partner with countries. We do have bilateral programs with many of the countries, and we do discuss and also try to replicate and show what India has done in sectors like solar, sectors like wind, sectors like biogas. And as a collective process of energy transition, we can do wonderful activities. I think SDG 7, people debate of 2030, whether we'll achieve the SDG 7 agenda. But what I believe, activities that we all collectively, if they are scaled up into the right fora, if we are able to demonstrate to the people that this is the benefit they can get, and irrespective of whether the country has whatever population it is, DRE has a play for a populous country like us or a sparse country like any of the African countries. Because in fact, for African countries, DRE will be much more beneficial. The impact that will play will be more better than what we would get, because we are anyway moving towards electricity. Some of, we have achieved as close to energy access in full terms. We have provided access to each and every consumer that needs electricity. But going beyond, I think solarization or RE, I can move further. It's not only solar, but all kinds of RE resources needs to be tapped. And that's where the entire action lies. I think you have a very fantastic tagline, everything, everywhere, all at once, climate action right now. I think for this, I would add that it is the renewable energy that's going to help everything that you have put here. So I stop here, but RE is the way forward. So with this, I thank WWF and HSBC and all you guys for patiently listening me. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, sir, for that inspiring keynote address. I think quite a few interesting points that you have made about the biogas and how it is really helping, especially the women folk at the household level in terms of indoor air pollution, decreasing the drudgery of collecting fuel wood. So I just want to add one more benefit to that. This is something that WWF has been doing in Tal area, which is the foothills of Himalaya in the Uttarakhand region, wherein we have worked with the farmers in installing the biogas plants for them. So what it has actually done is that there has been decrease in the number of cases of human-wildlife conflict, because the people right now who have the biogas are not anymore going to the forest areas to collect fuel wood. So there are less instances of human-wildlife conflict. So this is I think it's really important that you have also mentioned. I think what we also need to look is the larger picture and also the larger linkages. Renewable energy is not just providing you light when you switch on the switch, but it gives you much more than that. It gives you livelihood. And sir, livelihood and dignity also. I think this is really important. So on that, I think this is a good segue for us to quickly go into. We have a short video on solarization of dairy value chain that we have piloted in a few places in Rajasthan. So I'll request the organizer to just quickly put the video.
Milk is a very perishable commodity. The problem is if we don't have a sufficient infrastructure and power energy where milk can be chilled, the milk will go bad and its value becomes zero, and it's a loss to the farmers.
अब कभी कभी एक कैन खराब हो रहा है, कभी 2 कैन खराब हो रहा है। जैसे एक कैन भी खराब हो जाता है तो उस रोज हमारे को 3,500 से 4,000 रुपये का नुकसान हो जाता है।
और अगर उसी दूध को हम वहाँ ठंडा कर लेते हैं तो उसकी कैपेसिटी करीब 5-6 घंटा बढ़ जाती है, तो हमारे को कोई परेशानी नहीं होगी।
जिस समय हम लोगों को बिजली की ज़रूरत है उस समय बिजली नहीं है।
Farmers who has a meager income, it is becoming very difficult for him to have non-conventional source of energy, which was very expensive.
So we chose dairy sector primarily because of two reasons. One is the fact that it is fairly disorganized. It caters to a large rural population, farmers who pretty much all of them have a couple of cows or buffaloes. But globally, it's seen as a space where there is high carbon emission happening. So this was a good opportunity to decarbonize dairy as a sector, enable some level of organization, and also come up with disaggregated solution which can be at a farm level, which can be at a cooperative level, so that there is enough technology, there is enough finance flowing in, and they are able to make greater profits because of reduced losses, reduced diesel consumption, and at the end of the day, better quality of life.
इस समस्या को कैसे समाधान कर सकते, तो हमने 3 सोलर लेके हमने फील्ड में फिटवेट लिया। आज वहाँ पे 99% रिजल्ट अच्छा आ रहा है। उससे आज महिला खुश से, किसान सेक्रेटरी खुश से और कंपनी खुश से, और उनका भी दूध की कीमत बढ़े ताकि वह जैसा दूध निकलता है वैसा दाम उनको मिल सके।
Thank you. I think this video makes it very clear the impact of renewable energy on human lives. I think that is something that we really need to understand. If I'm correct, there is one milk cooperative, I think it's in Churu, Rajasthan, wherein it is entirely run by women self-help group. So they have taken the responsibility. So WWF has helped them to install the instant milk chillers, and they are doing it completely on their own. I think this shows us a clear example that there is an intersection between livelihood, women empowerment, and renewable energy. I think that's what our Honorable Prime Minister has been also emphasizing on every national and global platform. With that, I think we will now move on to our panel discussion, which is appropriately named Powering Rural Livelihood, Prosperity and Resilience Globally Through Clean Energy. I will now request Jeevan Kumar Jethani sir, Shahab, and also Minesh ji. Jagdaj sir, would you like to also join in? Okay, sure, please. But sir, of course, be... Rahul, would you like to please join in? Come. I think we need a perspective on energy storage. I think that would be really more important. Yes. All right, so Rahul is a senior sectoral expert in terms of energy battery storage. He is the president of Indian Energy Storage Alliance. Rahul, that's correct, right? Yes, and he's been an old acquaintance. I am happy to call him my friend also, because I remember that I think it was 7-8 years back, we worked something on together. We did some couple of webinars. I think that time integration of battery energy storage and renewable energy was still being talked about. I think Rahul is the one of the few experts in India who have actually spearheaded this in India. I think kudos to him and his organization. I think without wasting much time, let me just quickly dive into the very first question. I think I'll take where we left off. I think cracking the code on scaling up of decentralized renewable energy. So, Mr. Jithani, the first question is for you. We have seen that several innovative DRE solutions in India have been implemented by different agencies. Some of them have been implemented by MNRE and also the state renewable energy agencies. Now, a lot of them have actually shown good success. There is one technology which is biomass-based energy generation, which is doing through the pine needles. But the problem is that it's just one plant. They have not been able to scale it up. So what we can do, this is a question since you have been in the policy sphere for almost 20-25 odd years, and you have been one of the persons who know in and out of how the policy is driven, how policy is written, and how it can foster distributed renewable energy. I want to understand from you, like, what is that we need to do to have this scalability for DRE solutions in India?
Thank you, Bhaskar, and thank you, WWF, for this panel discussion, and which is very close to my heart. I would say that DRE is very close to my heart. When we were discussing that we have provided the energy access, so we are referring this energy access is just to lighting a house, nothing else.
Right.
But we have to take it beyond. Once you have provided the light to a household, they need more. When in urban area we are enjoying everything, then we have to provide these such facilities to them also. It's not that we have just provided them a small solar 200 watt, 300 watt panel with 2-3 lights, and we say that we have done a big job. It's not that. They have to be given opportunity for the livelihood. I have seen the rural areas where they are really living in a very bad situation, and issue is that they need energy access for livelihood. There are solutions. It's not that the solutions are not there. Solutions are there. The only thing is to how to scale it up, as you rightly mentioned, that what are the challenges in scaling up the solutions. So different ministries are implementing different schemes. And what is happening on the ground is that the renewable energy is MNRE is the nodal ministry, and it is to promote the renewable energy. The other ministries, they do it on a very small scale, say for a pilot or demonstration scales. They don't go for the further scaling up of such kind of projects. And in remote and rural area, what is happening, the innovators are implementing their innovations, they do demonstration, they are getting funds from some NGO or something. So some applications are being piloted, but further scale up is not there. They require the funds. And you need standardization also. So you have done some innovation, it's okay, but the standardization is not there. So people don't have the faith. Then comes the repair and maintenance. So I have suppose bought something which is not working, suppose after some time. Then I need some parts for that. The parts are not available. The person who is going to make it good is also not available. There are, say, in remote, you are employed this application in the remote area. And now the person who is going to main it will come after 2-3 days or 5 days. And it's very difficult for him to come to that area. The people will lose the faith in that application. Will say it's not working. So we have to make the thing robust. And for that, we need standardization of these things. There should be specifications, standardization, their testing, proper testing. And then the repair and maintenance, how to do this. If it is robust, then the repair maintenance requirement will be less. There may be some things for the troubleshooting, you can educate the person who is utilizing that. So like we have that when you buy a fridge, you get this troubleshooting manual. If this is not there, you can try this, and then only you can call the company person. On similar lines, you have to educate in local language. You have to give them some leaflet that these are the things. And now the IT applications are there. So we can utilize these IT applications. Now we have the pay-as-you-go models for the simple application. Even for a small solar lamp, you have such kind of applications where you are initially giving, say, 20 rupees for a month, and then after the month, you will get the code on your mobile, and you feed the code, and again for next 20 month, you are getting it operational. So when such kind of applications are there, I think these can be deployed. And then finance. So as I mentioned, you have done some pilots through funding from the other agencies, but what next? You need finance. So now, one is you have standardized the thing, you have the repair and maintenance things, you have this troubleshooting manual with you, you have educated the person within the village to do small things which is required. So finance is another thing. For financing, MNRE is going to promote DRE application for livelihood through its programs and policies, of course, but it is limited. The kitty is limited. You can't have the unlimited scope for the subsidy. So the application has to stand at its own. For that, we have to show it's financially viable. So you have to showcase to the lenders also. So lender has to be educated. So they should know that this application is going to deliver, this is financially viable. Sometimes they don't understand the technology. The lenders don't understand. So their education is also required. They should be educated that this, you see, this is a renewable energy application, and this is how it is going to be financially viable. Maybe a short videos may be prepared at the, say, when you are having the, at the, say, pilot level or demonstration level. And there could be also an R&D. So a person who has already done it, says through some jugaad kind of thing, but later it has to be properly innovated through some R&D. He has done something, he has given some idea. Now the next thing is to take it up further through R&D. So he has given you idea, you take it through R&D, you prepare a better product. So these are the things I think is required. And our DRE framework is towards that. And also then, if you are going for a scale, then you have to aggregate the demand. Aggregation of the demand. You aggregate the demand, you arrange the finance. And also, when I say R&D, the important thing is the energy efficiency. If you are making the thing efficient, your RE requirement will go down. If your RE requirement go down, your cost will go down. Your storage requirement will go down. So these are the things we have to work on that. Thank you.
I think you have hit the nail on the head. I think the points that you have mentioned actually is plaguing the DRE sector. I think Jugaad is good as a stepping stone, but it cannot be a permanent solution. I think we need to have standardization. And like you said, pay as you go is, I think, a model which has worked for DRE sector. I mean, we have seen this work in other sectors. Imagine earlier we used to have cassettes and CDs. Now we use Spotify and other things that is like pay as you go. I mean, it makes life easier for the consumer and subscribers. I think that is the model. And one thing I really resonate with you is the thing that you mentioned about the aspirational needs of people. I still remember when I was young, I was working in Bajgundi in Mandla district in Madhya Pradesh. Yes, thank you very much for the compliment. So there is a forest fringe village, and we installed a solar microgrid there, providing them AC solutions, AC power. The villagers were really happy, but one person came and asked me कि आपने light तो दे दिया, अब मैं इससे अपना TV कब चला सकता हूँ? I think this is really important that we should look beyond renewable energy, beyond just electricity. I think that is something that we need to provide to our citizens. I think now I will quickly, in the interest of time, I'll quickly go to Dr. Dr. Shah, who has been patiently waiting virtually. Dr. Shah, you have been a veteran for almost 30 odd years in the dairy supply chain in India. You have done some exceptional work in terms of integrating renewable energy. Some of the things that Jagdale sir was also mentioning in integrating biogas, solar, etc. With you, I would like to understand is that could you please share your experience and help us understand what are the key aspects and support needed in terms of integrating renewable energy in these kind of sectors? I think you have done pioneering work. I think your challenges and your learnings over the period would really help and enrich the audience here. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Bhaskar. I think, as you have briefed, National Dairy Development Board was set up by Government of India for dairy development through a cooperative strategy in India. What we have done is through sustained efforts of NDDB and the dairy cooperatives which were set up by NDDB after the Amul, it has made India the largest milk producer in the world. And while implementing this program for more than 5-6 decades now, we have realized that the most significant part for the success is the robust institutional structure what you require, and that we have achieved through the inputs required for practicing dairying or the markets, because individual farmers will be will not have access to market if he is working alone. So what is important is the institutional bargaining power which they get when they form cooperatives or the producer-owned institutions. And then we shifted the focus on the use of renewable energy. All the speakers have stressed upon why it is important and how the climate action, it requires that we immediately go for the options of the renewable energy. I will focus on what we have done, I think, and why it is important to, not only use the renewable energy, but also use it on sustainable basis and also for the collective benefit. And while we are actually making use of the distributed renewable energy, NDDB, is focusing on, again, the producer-owned institutions or the rural farmers, making them, having access to the renewable energy solutions, treating, because we have handled milk as a commodity which is very perishable in nature. So even, when we talk about solar or manure, for example, we treat them as a similar commodity, and treating them as a commodity, how we can help this producer-owned institution to produce these commodities by themselves and also get incentivized, because unless the farmers see some incentive for them, it will be very difficult. We can go on talking to them on the benefits of renewable energy, but unless we make them realize that there is some benefit, some incentives for the farmers, it's very difficult that they will adopt on a sustainable basis. So any type of energy transition, I think if we have to make, it would need investment, it would need right technology, appropriate regulatory and policy support, and especially, for example, like the solar energy, if it has to be mainstreamed, we will have to take support of various departments of Government of India, also the productive utilization of the solar at the community level, and all the Indian villages will require to make sustained efforts from all these stakeholders. For the dairy sector per se, I think one of the most challenge we have, as I told, milk is a perishable commodity. Preserving quality of milk when it is received at the rural level and till it is transported for the processing to the nearest processing plant. I think between that time, the microorganisms or the bacteria present in the milk, multiply very fast and makes the, quality of milk inferior. So our challenge is to chill this milk at the source when the farmer gives at the cooling point or the cooperative society at the village level, and we use the bulk milk chillers at the village level. these bulk milk chillers or even the insulated transport or the processing, all these are very, very intensive, in terms of the energy usage, and changing them to the renewable sources is really a challenge. So we started working on all these fronts simultaneously. We channelized the funds from the government, as Mr. Jagdale also told, all the national and international agencies, and we are working with all of them to put in place an appropriate structure, also the rules and regulations. And we have our own subsidiary companies also. They also started working on technical and manufacturing aspects of preserving milk through chilling or cooling, making required equipments which are required, for example, solar-based bulk milk chillers. Very recently, as I think it was told, we partnered with WWF and our milk producer company in Rajasthan, which is facilitated by NDDB. We have taken an initiative to install solar-based instant milk chillers at the village level. This is a key initiative in our belief, because milk is immediately chilled at the village level to 4 degrees centigrade. So it improves the quality of milk. Bacteria don't grow further. And with such installations at the village level itself, I think the entire value chain, makes these kind of chillers very, very effective, and also milk quality gets improved, and it contributes toward reducing the material also, uh, and also the energy losses. So this is one example which we have set up. Another one which Mr. Jagdale referred is our manual management initiative, where again, we worked on the collectives. So, initially when we did some survey in the village level to see what are the actually resistance from the villagers related to the traditional biogas plants which were used in India. And then we were told, during the feedback from the villagers, that it was actually the repairing and maintenance issue which they were facing. So we came out with new technology, Flexi model, which was very, very cost effective and also easier to maintain and repair. And entire infrastructure was simple, very easy to use by the farmer themselves. It was easy to explain to the rural people. We even had the one person from the village itself, attached by the supplier of the biogas plant in the village. He was trained, and wherever there is some problem at the farmer level, he will just go there and solve the problem in 10 minutes. So these are the kind of biogas plants we tried in one village, all the villages which had the animals. So there were about 370 houses in the village who had the animals with them. We provided a free biogas plant from NDDB initially. So 370 biogas plants. Even today, after 5 years, all these biogas plants are working. They are saving on the LPG cylinder cost or the wood which they were using as alternate fuel. So 1,000 to 1,500 rupees is the saving they are getting. Then more importantly, they are getting smoke-free kitchen, and the health has improved, those who were using the firewood. Apart from that, we established the first of its kind, the manure cooperative society, because the beneficiaries were women who have supplied the biogas plants. We formed a cooperative society, first of its kind in the country, and all these women, they got involved. So after the methane is produced into biogas and utilized for the cooking needs, the leftover slurry was collected by this cooperative, which is run by the women themselves. It was converted into organic manures, and these organic manures are being sold in the market. The importance of organic manure and the soil fertility now, it's very, very important, and it is helping the farmer to reduce the usage of the chemical fertilizer. So all this actually helped them to have a sustainable model. Every farmer is now, apart from saving about 1,500 rupees for the LPG cylinder, they are also able to get 4,000-5,000 rupees every month through sale of bioslurry which is being converted into organic manures. So I think it is very, very important if we have to, devise a model and showcase it to farmers. We will have to tell them that this is the incentive for the farmers. This is the additional income which you are going to get if you adopt. And indirectly, we are getting all the benefits which we think of the renewable energy source, energy, and why it is important to adopt. We again for the solar, in one village we saw that everybody is using the irrigation pump. They are taking the water at their own will. We encourage them to form a cooperative society, first of its kind, solar cooperative society. All these pumps were again, solar based. So they were getting the solar energy to utilize the pump, taking the water out. We told them to make a grid out of it. And with that result, we have connected all the members of that cooperative society. So the surplus power, solar power, which was generated after, making their own need for the pump or irrigation water, was given to the grid. And all these farmers, about 15 members who have installed solar pumps for the irrigation purpose, they are now getting additional income of 4,000 to 5,000 rupees. Apart from the same purpose, for the irrigation water, everything is happening as it was, happening earlier. And again, this was the first of its kind solar cooperative society, which was inaugurated by our Honorable Prime Minister in 2018.
Thank you.
So these has actually, I will conclude saying two things. That one is, I think, institutionalization of these farmers at the rural level is very, very important if we have to focus on the renewable energy and make them aware. This will help, to collectively implement such initiative. Second point, as I told, is some incentive for the farmers so that they are, they are ready to adopt and they can continue it, and the sustainability which we are talking about for the renewable energy options, will be established at that level. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I think thank you very much. Exceptional work and a broad range of work that NTDB has undertaken, and you have made valid points in terms of creating that robust institutional mechanism which can actually guide the distributed renewable energy implementation, and also some sort of an incentive where actually incentive and economic incentive is something that drives people to take up particular solution. Now we are slightly running short of time. I'm really sorry, but in the interest of time, maybe I will quickly go to Shahab. And Shahab, sorry, but you will have like 5 minutes. Maybe you can quickly. What we can do is this discussion doesn't have to stop. When we go out of the panel room, I think we can have a more informal discussion also. But I think what we have been also discussing just before the session is the linkage between renewable energy solution, DRE solution, climate resilience, and energy poverty and livelihood. Selco has worked a lot on these aspects, the intersection of this. So maybe in next 5 minutes, could you maybe use the example that you are doing in the Northeast, and could you help us tell how renewable energy can actually makes impact on the lives of people there, and what needs to be done?
Bhaskar, maybe I'll take a couple of quick examples. Most of our work is on the field, and I think it's only fair that I take a few examples and just tell you all about what we've been doing. There are a lot of existing technologies. I don't think it's a technology problem anymore. Solar is well established. Yes, there can be a lot more innovation on the efficiency side, like Sir has said, but a lot of technologies are currently available that we can make use of. But how do we get them out to people is the biggest question. Somewhere where we've been fairly successful is trying to look at other developmental spaces. So say that at the village level in at least Karnataka, we have the 15th Finance Commission scheme. So under the 15th Finance Commission scheme, there is a mechanism to do livelihood development for people with disabilities. With productive use technologies, we are able to automate certain functions. So a person who doesn't have legs can't possibly use a sewing machine. But with a small pedal and a motor, they can now have a sewing machine. Um, with one hand, they can use a sugarcane juice mixer. But we've been able to use this 15 Finance Commission scheme in over 800 different instances in one district to use the available fund at the village level and blend that with credit to make sure that the productive use appliances along with the solar energy is able to reach people. Another really nice example that we are seeing is with the Ministry of Food Processing Industries. We already have the PM FME scheme in India, the Food Manufacturing Enterprise Scheme. There, the government is already giving 30% subsidy for setting up a food processing industry. We are able to integrate the DRE aspect in the food processing side. I think we're just starting off. We've done about 150, 200 of these so far. And the success is already there. We don't even need a subsidy, additional subsidy. We don't need grants to come in from philanthropy side. Only if we are able to. So what we're missing right now is the program design. You have the technology. In many cases, you have credit. In Northeast, I guess, banks could be more supported as well. But at least in Karnataka, etc., you have a credit source. But what we are missing is people to come in and be able to say that, okay, I'm going to take the technology that is like this. I'm going to use this credit source. I'm going to use this blended grant source and be able to work with all the different stakeholders that are required to make that project happen at scale. If we are able to teach people how to make this system work on the ground, then we can actually scale. And the customization is required from state to state. It is undeniable. In Rajasthan, WWF has scaled some of the solutions that we are working with camel milk. In 45 minutes, that milk is getting spoiled. So how do we map out the milk value chain in Rajasthan? Will be different from Karnataka, where we are doing milk value chain in dairy. So customization is important. If you're working with a rice transplanter and we want to solar power a rice transplanter on the ground, the rice transplanter will work differently where the land is flat and in the hilly terrain of Mizoram. So that customization is required. But other than that, it's only a will to make sure that there is a glue between the technology, finance, policy side, and that glue is required on the ground where it is functioning. If we are able to do that, then there is nothing stopping us. When the DRE livelihood framework also is well established, I think what we need to figure out is how do we train our government staff at the lowest level to be able to make use of that scheme along with other schemes that are available, along with the banking sector, and bring all of these parties together. In one place where we have been able to see utmost scale is the health sector. I know it's a little bit different, but by just doing all of this, we are now powering 25,000 healthcare facilities in India right now. We've already completed 4,000, and our target is to do all of this by 2026. So we are implementing 80 systems a day, and we've already powered 100% of health facilities in the state of Meghalaya, Mizoram, the borderland region of Assam. And all of these learnings are available to the whole of the global south. In fact, I'm going to do a plug here now. In the B2 in Abu Dhabi, we have sort of like a activation. I think some of you all have been there, but those who haven't, there's a story of what it's like to deliver a baby in the dark. And how can we really solve it? The solution is again already there. We need to make use of the state financing that is already available, that is right now going on diesel, but can we sort of segue that to solar energy? And how do we make use of philanthropy? It's already happening at scale. So if you have time, please come to B2 and see that activation. There's a lovely movie playing on all four sides of the room. You can stand in the center and watch. Thank you.
I think, yeah, Dr. Hande invited us, so a couple of us went there. Exceptional, sir. If you get a chance, maybe you can also visit. I think WHO chief also went there. He really appreciated it. Yes. Sorry, Rahul, for giving you the short end of the stick. You have like only a couple of minutes. I'm really sorry for that. But yours is like really, really important aspect, the energy storage in the whole narrative of DRE and its scale up. If you were to maybe in couple of bullet points, if you were to tell us like what is the challenge and one or two bullet points on how do we overcome this challenge, what needs to be done from an energy storage perspective.
Choose the right technology, and there I think as the overall market is developing, I think many of the challenges are getting solved in most of the recent mini grids where we have worked. Now even lithium-ion batteries have been getting deployed, and because they have much longer life, although upfront capital cost is more, the levelized cost is cheaper, and that is being found out. But you need to still make sure that in terms of some of the points which Dr. Jethani mentioned in terms of the maintenance, or if there is any issue in terms of handling of the batteries, you are make sure that the people are trained and they are not using it in a way which could create any challenges. I think safety is another critical issue which needs to be addressed. But main thing I feel is that most of the time with storage, unfortunately, now even after 15 years, I still keep on hearing, oh, cost is the problem and cost has to come down, cost has to come down. There I feel actually I was just talking to a friend and it suddenly struck me that it's like the excuse which I use myself for not going to gym, right? Time. Oh, I don't have time. So it's the same thing I think which happens with this, that we end up like using cost as an excuse rather than saying that, okay, is that value being added? Because if there is diesel generator being used, storage was cost effective against diesel 10 years back.
Right.
It was just that we are not valuing the people who are using it or people where it can make a difference to the life. Like we were, I was moderating a panel for ISA a couple of days back, and one of the speakers came in and said, "Oh, India has demonstrated that grid expansion can like be the most cost-effective solution." But that's a part where I think India has subsidized quite a lot of it, right? The actual cost of the grid expansion is not embedded in the cost of the energy which is there. And if you assume that that grid expansion is the way for entire Africa and other countries, that's a solution which was advocated by the speaker, I think it's going to be horribly wrong. And it's not about just the cost. I think the time value is something which is important. We don't want to have, when we have solutions available which can be deployed right now, we do not want to wait for hoping that grid will be expanded in another 10 years, 15 years, and then everyone get. We are going to lose 1 or 2 generation of kids who can be actually transformative in terms of what they can do if they have access to these opportunities, right? So that's a part where I think with storage and some of the things which can be done, we just need to focus on getting deployment. And some of the challenges what we have found through our effort is actually, it is not about just technology, it is some of the other thing. And there I feel, I don't know what is the solution, but it looks like all of us, we try to keep on doing, reinventing the wheel, keep on doing things. Some of the things like Market Connect, like some of the biggest problems what we faced was financing and Market Connect for some of the productive uses in the mini grids, where one is like we partnered with Rangde and they provided low interest finance, but it was 12 or 18-month finance. Now, even for like what I did with IESA, it took me more than 10 years to make IESA a sustainable initiative financially. And we are expecting suddenly in the remote areas, someone who is getting low interest finance have to figure out everything and then start paying back and do it in 12 months. That's something which is not viable. And that's something, I don't think we need to do something new. I think there are existing schemes and other things, but it just needs to be made sure that everyone can utilize it rather than only select companies who have learned from 10, 15 years can leverage that. So those are things if we can avoid or we can learn from it, then we can, I think technically, I think we have almost reached there. There will be improvement. Obviously in 5 years, 10 years, there will be 5 times better solutions available, but we don't need to wait for those.
Thank you. I think that sums up really well. I think what you mentioned is the time to act is now. I think that summarizes the tagline that we have here. I think I have been told strictly by the organizer that I need to shut my mouth now. So I'll take this opportunity to also welcome Jagdale sir on the dais, please. And maybe we can have a group photo. But I would like to thank each and every panelist and keynote speaker. I think this has been really illuminating. And I think the amount of knowledge that is there in the panel and the speakers here is exceptional. Thank you very much.